The belly and the heart are the areas that I want you to learn to live from. I made a video last week, 2 weeks ago, about moving from the head to the belly and the heart. And now I want to talk about the connection between the two of them. This is the center of our new awareness. It flowers from the belly. So what's happening right now is how all of us, or a lot of us, feel stuck in our heads, and it's just this constant voice, and we miss out on the feeling states and what's happening around us. That slowly is dropping down into this new way of moving through the world, where we are led by something beyond what we can understand with our five senses. And when you think about it from the lens of the gene keys, we talk about light penetrating into the gene keys, shaking up into the DNA, shaking up what is there, and then light that was bound within the DNA itself being released out into the world. And that's this sense of lightness, this sense of service and belonging. And if you know anything about gut health, you know that our belly holds millions, billions of different creatures with different DNA than our own, different bacteria and single-celled organisms. And so all that DNA moving around in there is just waiting for a mutation to occur. And it's important to know that this mutation is already latent in all of us. It's just waiting for the moment where it goes from, if you remember back in biology, recessive genes. We're just waiting for that gene to turn on and to come forward into the forefront. So this is about learning how to soften the belly. And there's lots of different things that I mean here. We've got to physically learn how to soften the belly. We grew up in a culture that was obsessed with having abs, having a flat belly, making sure that we, look toned there. Even that word, right? We're carrying tone. It's tension, it's tightness, and we've got to learn how to let go of that so that our belly can express itself, because behind that tightness is the one point. And the one point is this space that is right behind your navel. So the term navel gazing comes from the one point, because it is the place, right? It was the umbilical cord. It was the thing that connected us to our mother and therefore to the divine mother. And it is where we're in the 41st, actually, we just moved into the 19th, but we were just in the 41st gene key, whose city is emanation. It's where things emerge out of, right? It's the spot in your body where we're able to catch these divine emanations and follow them out into the world. Your brilliance doesn't come from up here. It doesn't come from your thinking. It comes from your belly. It comes from the one point. And the way that we allow that to happen is to develop a relationship with it, to tune into it with time and presence. I've got to practice being in that space. It is so much more subtle than the loud knocking that is happening in our brain. And we've got to learn how, when this is so loud, we can't tune into the belly. So step one is we've got to learn how to turn this down. And Courtney is working on a few different things to help with that. And then once we turn that down, then we just start to spend time at that one point. And we open to it and we trust in it. And it's also tied to the solar plexus area, which, if you know anything about the chakras, this is your will. This is your personal sense of power. It's how you know that you can, not in a negative way, manipulate what is happening in your life and in your external environment so that it aligns to your dharma and so that you're able to be deeply impactful, not from hurrying, not from getting a lot done, but just because you're around the right people and you say the right things. There's a component where the universe pulls the right people to you that need to hear you. And we need our solar plexus, our power, to be front and center. If fear is running our life, we're not going to be there for those people when they come to us. So we've got to learn how to tap into that creative solar plexus action taking energy. And then lastly, I just want to encourage you to massage your belly. So getting back to the physical tightness that we carry, lay down on your back, put your hands on your belly, and just start to press. Use your intuition, press into different areas, feel for different, tightness, different tension, knots, things that are releasing. Just breathe deeply. You can put your fingers underneath your rib cage and get into your diaphragm, and you will really start to feel some drastic shifts in certain spots. At least I do when I am massaging my belly. There also are specific masseuses out there who do belly massage. In fact, that's what Richard, the founder of the Gene Keys, did for years and years before the Gene Keys, was belly massage. And that's how he is so connected to his own belly. At least that's what he has said in the past. So let's now talk about connecting the belly and the heart. So our goal, the way that we do this, is to align our will to the heart. So I just said that the belly is the seat of our will. Well, we've got to learn, how can I align that will to my heart space, to the frequency of love? Because where we get into trouble is, and I did this for just 2 decades, no big deal, is I'm going to use my will to do what I want. I'm going to use my will to get what I need. I'm going to use my will for X, Y, Z, whatever thing it is that I want in the world. But that is what leads us into a place where you might be successful at it because you're putting a lot of energy. However, it's going to fall apart because it didn't get filtered through love. And we've got to learn that everything that we do needs to be done with love, and not even just do. Every thought that we have, we've got to catch them and filter them through our heart space. And when you do that, the things that you bring out into the world have this seed of success within them already, because they have the right fuel. Things emerge from our belly space. However, we've got to empty out for that to happen. It's like a black hole, right? Black hole sucks everything in. Everything gets attracted to it. In order for you to attract things to yourself, you've got to empty. If you're full, how can anything come to you? You're already full. So the only way, if you're like, dude, I've never felt something emerge from my belly ever, it's probably because it's full. And you've got to start connecting to this spirit of divine grace. This is something that we pray for. We pray to be opened, to be cracked open, to let go of all the burdens that we're carrying. And over time, with patience, with gentleness, that emptiness begins to show up. And then once that vacuum is present, things can start to appear. And when they appear in the belly, they start to move up through the energy channels, through your heart, and your heart acts like a filter. So you get this hit in your belly of something that you are meant to bring out into the world. Or maybe not, but something comes to you. And in that moment, we run it through the heart filter. Is this something that comes from love, or is this something that comes from fear? And we just parse out which parts are love, which parts are fear. And the fear we look at and we say, I see you. I know you. I know you're trying to protect me. I am not the person I once was. I'm not living off my past. I'm not predicting the future. This is what feels good right now. And making sure that it comes from a place of service, making sure that it comes from a place of service before it is spoken or done out in the world. And then once it passes through our heart, it moves up into our throat. And from that throat space, we're able to release it out into the world. That vibration has made its way through the heart filter, and now it needs to be expressed. This is our purpose as slices of the divine on this planet. We are here to speak the energy of the divine. We're here to make it real on this 3D reality. The best way to have the most impact with your words is to open your home to others. So your home is this heart belly space. That is the center of your awareness. Like a hearth, there's a fire that burns there and it's comforting. It warms those around you. It connects you to others. It's the gathering place. It's the fire. And so often we close it down because earlier in our lives, we had some rowdy guests that wreaked havoc and messed everything up. And so now, instead of cleaning up and saying, well, that party was screwed up, I need to let go of that and have another party, we're just like, we're never freaking having parties again. Everybody's out for good. But that people feel that. Right? People feel that barrier. So we've got to learn how to not only open this for ourselves, but allow other people in to our journey. And when we are able to tune back into our heart space and into our belly, that is when we're able to let go of hope and move into trust. Because it allows you to overcome your fear. Your solar plexus is what holds all of that fear. It's what stops you from actually living your will. And so when we start to take action, we get evidence. But when you're hoping, you're not taking action. So one of my favorite Jung quotes, I don't believe, I know. That was his response when somebody asked him if he believed in God. And what you have to realize, so on old maps, like way back in the day when they were the legends were on there, and the like the earth might have been flat at the time, and what they wrote outside of the known area was, beyond here lie dragons. And that is how it feels when you don't know. Right? When you're hoping, you just can only sense the dragons. But there's something that those dragons are protecting. There's a treasure that's out there. And what you'll find is that you can befriend the dragons and you can get to the treasure. But it only happens when you start to trust. And the last thing I'll say is about trust and intuition. So often we don't trust ourselves. We don't follow our intuition. And your intuition might be right and might be wrong as far as the truth of it, like how it, whether what you thought happened in the world or didn't happen in the world. And the thing with intuition, though, is that's not really the point. The point is that you needed to do the thing that you got the intuitive hit on. Whether it worked out well or it didn't work out well, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. It was the right thing for you to do. And so we've got to learn how to honor our intuition. Where we get into trouble with intuition is thinking that we know what other people should be doing and telling like, hey, I have got an intuitive hit that this needs to happen, which I'm certainly guilty of it at time to time. So our goal with getting to our belly and our heart is returning to simplicity. If you forget the simple things, life is lost. We're constantly chasing after the next big dopamine hit, the next vacation, the next bonus, the next job, the next relationship, the next you name it. This life is about coffee and tea. It's about doing the dishes. It's about hugging your kids. It's about going for a walk. It's about seeing a sunrise. Don't forget the simple. The simple is where the divine lives. And it's so easy in our culture and in our society to get sucked out of that simple. We need to set up a life with less requirement, less to do, less people that you need to keep happy, less investments that you need to manage, so that you can focus on nurturing yourself. You don't want all that external stuff. You might think you do right now. What you want is to feel good. And the way that you feel good is to turn your awareness inward, not to change anything about yourself or the external world. The more needs we have in our life, the more complex our life becomes. So each gene key has what's called a dilemma. So the dilemma of the 32nd gene key, for example, is panic. The dilemma of the 49th gene key, which is reaction, revolution, rebirth, is needs. So we start to build up these needs. So for example, I had a need to do my morning routine for a few years there. And that routine was about an hour long. And if I didn't get it in, it jacked up the rest of my day. I was miserable. I was mean to people. It made no sense, right? The point of the routine was to be grounded and centered. And it did the exact opposite. You know, maybe we have a need to drink a coffee every morning. Maybe we have a need to read a spiritual text. Whatever the need is, I don't care what it is. Those needs, when we don't get them, that's what drives us into reaction. So the more that we can simplify and let go of the needs, get to the essential, the better our life is going to feel. What you build and share and create and bring into the world must be simple. There's enough complexity out there. There's enough confusion. We're told that we need these big, complex systems to get people's attention, but you don't. Lastly, removing the armor around our heart. This is a choice. And I know and I understand why it's there. We had some tough times, big and little T traumas in our past. And we just decided it's better to close it down than to be hurt over and over and over again. But the reality is that the path to awakening is a series of softenings. It is a letting go. There's nothing coming in. It's releasing, going deeper, trusting, letting others in, slowing down. It's just getting softer and softer and softer. There is another way. There is a warrior way. And it's hard. And it takes discipline and focus and decades of sitting in upright posture with a focused mind. But why? That's the beauty of the gene keys. They tell us that we can do it in our day-to-day lives by letting go, by softening, by trusting what divine grace is bringing to us. Okay, all. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just let me know.